First week we looked at the ways of Cain. We saw the ways of Cain. In week number 2, we looked at the greed of Balaam. And this week he closes his series as we look at the rebellion of Korah. Please put your hands together and welcome the speaker for today as he closes his series, Brother Damani Wade.
God is good, and all the time. Even when life is unfair, God is good. Praise and worship team sung the song. The blood prevails. Not hearing this mic. Pastor, let me hear mic. So the song was sung. The blood prevails. The blood of the risen Lamb. Power to save, just as in olden days. And I laughed. As we sung, I was laughing. Because upon exploration of this topic, we really do need that blood. This topic has proven to be such a deep one, such a wide one. One presentation really cannot exhaust how significant or how important it is that we understand that we are not to be found amongst the rebellious. One presentation can't do it. But I only have one left. So we have to make it work somewhere, somehow. Last week I said that Balaam's rejection of authority will be dealt with this week, not knowing that this week can't deal with it. But such is the word of God. So we have much work to complete. So we begin. Same as usual. Jude, a servant of Yeshua the Messiah, and brother of James, to those who are called, who are set apart by Elohim the Father and preserved in Yeshua the Messiah. Compassion, peace, and love be increased to you. Beloved ones, making all haste to write to you, Jude says, concerning our common deliverance. Deliverance from Egypt, deliverance from bondage, deliverance from poverty, deliverance from sin, from this world itself. I felt the necessity to write to you, urging you, imploring you. That's what I've been doing the past 2 weeks. encouraging you to contend for this faith. What is the faith? Nobody silent. The Torah. The Torah is our faith, you know. So contend for the Torah, which was once for all delivered to the set apart ones. For certain men have slipped in, whose judgment was written about long ago, wicked ones perverting the favor of our Elohim for indecency, and denying the only Master, Yahweh, and our Master Yeshua the Messiah. But I intend to remind you, again, for the third week, though you once knew this, because we know this, that Yahweh, having saved the people out of Egypt, afterward, what did he do? Destroyed those who did not believe, those who lacked faith, those who did not follow the Torah. After saving them, he destroyed them. And the angels, what did the angels do? They did not keep their own principality, but what? Left their own dwelling. What that sound like? Rebellion. He has kept them in everlasting shackles. So Jude is showing us that there is no escape between man or spiritual being. Once rebellion is found in you, there is no escape, there is no coming back from it. Because they have been kept in everlasting shackles. This is not me say it, see it here? Under darkness for what? For the judgment day. So they will be judged. And we already know their fate. So I want us to understand, that rebellion is only one outcome for rebellion. Watch it. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them, in a similar way to these, having given themselves over to whoring and gone after strange flesh, are set forth as an example for us. They are now undergoing judicial punishment of everlasting fire. In the same way, indeed, these dreamers defile the flesh. They reject authority. And they speak evil of holy ones. So they defile the flesh, they reject authority, and they speak evil of holy ones. This sounds like Cain and Balaam, right? So we're going to see if the man of the moment falls under these three categories. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain. They have run greedily in the error of Balaam for a profit. And because they have done these, while preparing this final presentation, I realized why the writer set it in this order. So they went in the way of Cain. They rejected correction and discipline. They harbored envy and hatred in their heart and wrath. Thus murder. Selfish. And so they run greedily in the error of Balaam. Greed for a profit. And because of your greed, because of your selfish ambition, you rebel and you perish like Korah. Let us provide some background to the story before we jump into it. Because this is the only way we are going to grasp how serious of an issue this was. So we begin in Numbers 40. Verse 1. Then all the congregation lifted up. So every single person in the congregation, I want you to understand. Lifted up their voices and cried. And the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel did what? Grumbled against who? Moses and who? Aaron. The leaders. So the congregation now grumbled against the leaders. Why? And all the congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in the wilderness. And why is Yahweh bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? So in case you don't understand what is happening here, Moses just sent 12 men to spy out the land of Canaan in Numbers 13. The men came back, and only 2 of the 12 men said that we can go up and be successful. The other 10 men convinced the whole congregation of Israel that we cannot win. And so the people have now start to grumble now and say, listen man, why? So them go to Pastor and say, why God bring us out of Egypt? To kill us in this land. Better we did stay and dead there. Because if we're going to come here and die, might as well we did stay where we were and die. Sound like a plausible argument, don't? Sound like a plausible argument, man. I want you to understand, you know. The rebels, you know. Them arguments sound good. Watch it. So why is Yahweh bringing us up to the land to fall by the sword? That our wives and children should become a prey? Would it not be better for us to turn back to Egypt? So they want to go back. So when Yahweh said forward still, Israel said backward. And they said to each other, watch it now, what them say? Let us do what? Appoint a leader. So we start to see the rebellion now coming forth fully. Let us. So the people say, listen man, since as God appoint Moses and Aaron, and them are do foolishness, God don't know him to do. So we now need to appoint somebody to serve our own interest, because our interest is to what? Go back to Egypt. God's interest is for us to move forward into the land. We want to go back to Egypt. So let us appoint somebody who can give us what we want. And let us what? Turn back is not me say it is the scripture, brethren. So they want a leader who can give them what they want because they just said it. Let us go back to Egypt. Would it not be better for us to turn back and then let us appoint a leader to give us this? Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their garments. Only the man said now in verse 9. I think this is Joshua speaking. Joshua encouraging the people now. Joshua said, please, do not what? Rebel against Yahweh, nor fear the people of the land. For they are our bread, their defense has turned away from them, and Yahweh is with us. Do not fear them. Notice Joshua never said don't rebel against Moses in a virgin. Joshua never said don't rebel against Aaron. Joshua said do not rebel against Yahweh. Let me move this thing so everybody can see, because I want you to understand. It's not me say it, brethren. Moving along. But all the congregation do what? Said to stone them with stones. So we're going to beat up the pastor and I want to take over this thing here. We have to appoint a new board of directors. Then now, I want you to understand the seriousness of rebellion, you know. So the people now decide that we are going to appoint a leader to give us what we want. Then they say, let us overthrow Moses now. Stone them with stones and kill them. When he says stone them with stones, it's not just to make them run like dogs. When these people say stone with stones, murder the man, them plan to murder the leader in the congregation. God's appointed leader. So God have to react same time now. Because this is serious. Them said, the esteem of Yahweh appeared in the tent of appointment before all the children of Israel. So the man have to come down now. And Yahweh said to Moses, how long shall who? Shall you? Shall I be scorned by these people? And how long shall I not be trusted by them? With all the signs which I have done in their midst, with everything that I have done, I want you to understand that just part the Red Sea, I found manna from heaven. I give you a victory over this army in the land. I give you a victory over this one. I provide for you. I follow you with a pillar of cloud. And I do this, I do that. I make sure I say you're warm. Your shoes don't mash up on your feet. Your clothes don't smell bad. I do all of these things, and everybody wondering, how are you prospering in such a desolate land? The 10 plagues in Egypt. All of these things I have done, and yet still you choose to rebel and question my authority. You question the person I put in charge over you. And this is the person who have brought you through all of these situations. All these years. How long? Let me what? Strike them. This is the punishment of rebellion. You know? With the pestilence and what? Disinherit them. So rebellious people don't get an inheritance. And make of you a great nation and mightier than they. And Yahweh said in verse 20, so we have to jump it because we don't reach our story yet. So Moses said, please, in the verses that follow, don't do this because if the Egyptian them hear, they are going to say, you do all of that to take them out to come kill them, and they're going to laugh after you. So God said, all right. In verse 20 now, God said, all right. I shall forgive according to your word, Moses. So the same man who did one of his stone in a bridge, beg for you, and this is how we are. The same pastor who you want to kill, who you chastise, you crucify, beg for you now and say, all right. I will forgive according to your word. But truly as I live and all the earth is filled with the esteem of Yahweh, none of them, so the punishment must come. You must feel for your rebellion. There's a price to be paid for rebellion and it must be paid. None of them who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness and have tried me now these 10 times and have disobeyed my voice shall see the land. Nor any of those who scorn me shall see it. I am Yahweh, I have spoken. I shall do this to all this evil congregation who are meeting against me. So the rebels them group up and have them big meeting. So one man come and say, you don't like we are going in a brethren. Come and talk. And it's nice. Say, go and following now. Whole heap of people start grumble up, it's fine, a little meeting. Meeting of rebels. So you're meeting against God. So you're meeting and you're talking about the past, you not even realize it's God you're meeting again. Watch it. In this wilderness they are what? What are they? Consumed. Notice I put it in purple. You don't realize why. And there they die. Even those men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague. So the 10 from the other tribes who come and say, we can't go up and win, they died. Because that is rebellion. And they rose up early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain. And want you understand, Bridget? Watch the people them, you know. Watch the people them. They rose early in the morning, went to the top of the mountain and say, see, we have indeed sinned. So the people them repent in a brother Bill. Then go up to the top of the mountain, them say, we have sinned. But them say, and I read these things, I laugh. You know. The people them say, we have sinned, but we shall go up to the place which Yahweh had spoken of. The rebellion does not stop. Even after all that will just happen, the people and say, we have sinned, they acknowledge it. But they say, but we are going to go up now. But Moses said, why? Moses said, why? Stop no man. Why do you now transgress the mouth of Yahweh, since it does not prosper? Do not go up. The leader says, do not go up lest you be smitten by your enemies. For what? Yahweh is not with you. because the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword because you have turned away from Yahweh. Yahweh is not with you. But they presume they still the same issue that I was just reprimanded about, the rebellion. Not even a day don't pass. Not even a day the next morning. People on this side say, we're going up. And the same leader who we rebel against, they said, please don't do it. But they went and they were struck and beat down. And they were killed. Numbers 15. So after them dead now, Numbers 15, God said, all right, rebellion is in the camp. I'm going to show you how to rectify these things. And give them the laws of how to, if a man sin, if the congregation sin by a mistake, what he's supposed to do. And if a man, a single man, sin, and he never know about the sin, what you're supposed to do. We reach verse 30 of the chapter now. And he said, but the man who does whatever defiantly, knowingly. Some scriptures say high hand, you do it with a high hand, say exalt yourself. Whether he is native or a stranger, he what? He reviles Yahweh, he goes against Yahweh, he rebels against Yahweh. And that being shall what? Be cut off from among his people. We see consumed, now we see cut off. Because he has despised the word of Yahweh and has broken his command. That being shall certainly be cut off. His sin is upon him. Can't escape it. That is what it means, That sin is upon you, brethren. I feel like I can take it and put it on a goat. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. These people, I tell these people, brethren. After all these events, you find a man now gone out on the Sabbath day. This is not a place like Jamaica, brethren. This is a place where the whole country locked down, because it's Sabbath, so the man knows it's Sabbath. The man knows it's Sabbath, but he must say, all right, everybody in them house, so nobody now going to know if me come out. All them are going to know if me come out. Everybody lock up in their house. So him go and gather sticks. And the Lord said, don't do it. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation. And they put him in under guard, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. And Yahweh said to Moses, because me just tell you what I said in verse 13. Say, whosoever do something defiantly. So I don't know why you bring him to me now. I say, you don't know what should be done to him. And I just tell you up here, say, whosoever do something defiantly must be cut off. So Yahweh said to him, the man shall certainly be put to death, because I just tell you. All the congregation stoning him with stones outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, as Yahweh commanded. And he died. And this now God said, all right, you try so much things with us, Now him say, all right, since I now learn, make sit and tassel put panena on the garment. Put a blue card in it, so whenever you walk, anywhere you go, you see it so you remember the last. Because obviously you have some memory deficiency, brethren. So you need something to remind you, because it just now work. It's not a 1 year and a 2 year and a 1 month and a 2 month pass before I gone back in it. It's the minute me stop talking, I'm gone back up. Or just turn. So make something and put on the clothes now. It go in on the eyesight. So you can remember the law. You can keep in line. The man tries so much things with us. Rebellious. That's why I believe that the Jamaicans are the Israelites. Rebellious. Watch it. It shall be to you, verse 39, for a seat, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yahweh, and shall do them, and not search after your own heart, and your own eyes, after which you went whoring, so that you remember and shall do all my commands, and be set apart unto your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Sign and seal. So why did we go through all of that now? The man Korah. Who was Korah? Korah is an Edomite name, also an Israelite name. The verb kara means to be or to become naked. No, to become or to make bald. Now, if you study baldness, you realize that baldness is a symbol of shame. That's why whenever they sin, they cut off them hair, put on sackcloth. So baldness, cutting off all your hair, that's it's a symbol of shame. So we're going to explore this virgin now. Who was Korah? Exodus 6, before we jump to number 16. We're trying to establish who was this man. Because we have to understand. We have to understand the story. And we can't take these stories. Peace, a man come and him just preach number 16, you read number 16 alone. You're not going to understand the dynamics of how you reach to that point. Why was the punishment so severe? You're not going to get it. So you have to go back a few chapters, jump forward a few chapters on these things. You can't just isolate one chapter and say, all right, we read this and feel like you're going to understand. It don't work like that. So let us first establish who is Korah. Because number 16 just tells us that Korah was this. But watch Exodus 6 now, 16 to 21. These are the sons of who? Levi. Who is Levi? Priestly tribe. This is a tribe that what? Already have leadership. This is a tribe that has been set apart. This is a tribe that has already been called for a purpose. Watch it. According to their generations, we have Gershon. So Levi have some sons now. One named Gershon, one named Kehath, and one named Merari. 3 sons. And the years of the life of Levi were 137. So the first son now, Gershon, him get 2 sons. Him get Libni and Shimi, according to their clans. And the sons of Kehath now, so the other son of Levi now, him get how much son? 4. Him get Amram, Yitshar, Hebron, and Uzziel. And Merari now the other son of Levi. Got 2 sons, Mali and Mushi. These are the clans of Levi. But we are going to focus on the sons of Levi who came from Kehath. So Amram now, which is one of the sons of Kehath, took for himself Jochebed, his wife, his father's sister as wife. And she bore him who? Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137. And the sons of Yitshar, so Amram, Moses come from Amram, and Korah now come from Yitshar. So what you realize between Moses and Korah now? Cousin. Moses and Korah are cousin. Number 16. And Korah now, son of Yitshar, son of Kehath, son of Levi, took 2 men now. So this is how rebels are, you know. They don't go about by themselves. They have to carry in people with them. So be careful of the rebels. Ensure that you are not a rebel. And be careful of the rebels. Watch it. So he took 2 men now, Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, a 3rd man, the son of Peleth. And these were the sons of Reuben. And they what? What did they do? Rose up before Moses. Rebellion. With some of the children of Israel. Look how much of them. 250 what? Leaders of the congregation. Called ones at the meeting. Men of what? Men of renown. So in other words, Korah Jaffe, all of the leaders them brethren. It's not a small thing the man go on with. The man go around and get all the people of influence in the congregation and say, listen, Moses now go on with nothing. And we soon see it and not jump in the story. And they assembled against Moses and against Aaron. and said to them, so the man them come now, Brother Bailey. So me and you are run this thing, Virgin. And Pastor and Brady and we name Stewie and Morris and Margaret. Everybody jump now and come against me and me and you stand up over here, son. 250 man come now. That sound like the man them have a plausible argument against the two of us. Because the 250 leaders that them must have something right in them claim. And not regular people, Virgin. There must be something valid in their claim. Watch it. So they assembled now against Moses. And hear what them say. Enough of you. Tired of your foolishness. Your leadership not going in with nothing. For all the congregation, they said, is set apart. This is the argument, you know. All the congregation is set apart, all of them. And Yahweh is in their midst. Watch the claim. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahweh? So this is the claim, you know, against Moses, you know. Not me said. This is the claim against Moses. So Moses is now being accused of lifting himself up against the assembly, above the assembly. So he is being accused of being a self-appointed leader. A man who wants power. A man who wants to run things. Is this true? When God called him, what him say? When I tell him God get annoyed with him, you know, because him keep on finding excuses and say, find somebody else, find somebody else. It's about 4 times the man refusing. It's about 4 times the man refused. And a lot of times when the people went awry, him go to God and he said to them, he said to God, listen, the people who you give me because me never want them. The people who you give me. So first thing that we find is that rebels usually come with a claim. So now we have to see if the claim is legitimate. And in this case, we know that the claim is not legitimate. Let us continue. When Moses heard it, rest of our pastor now, he fell on his face. I'm tired of them in a British. Seriously, no, the man frustrated now, you know, because this is an ongoing issue. I could have gone back further than Numbers 14 and show you that this rebellion has been an ongoing issue. Ongoing, it's an everyday issue. From in Egypt. So Moses now spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, tomorrow morning, Moses said, Yahweh shall make known who is his and who is set apart, and bring him near to him, and let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this. Take fire holders. So you're going to take incense holders, Korah and all your company, put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahweh chooses is set apart, is the set apart one. Enough of you sons of Levi, Moses said. Enough tired of you. And Moses said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Levi. Now listen to Moses now. This part touch me. And we need to look into ourselves. Moses said to them, these are men, you know, of renown. These are men who born just by being born. You're a leader. Because you were born in a tribe that has been called for a specific purpose. So just by birth, you are a leader. Look what Moses said to the people. Is it little to you? Do you consider it little that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the entire congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to perform the service of the dwelling place, to take care of the tabernacle? Is it a small task to you? Is it a small leadership role to you that you do not consider it enough? and to stand before the congregation to serve them. And that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you. Yet you seek the priesthood as well. Says the priesthood you want from Aaron. You want to be the high priest. So you already have a position, you know. You are the accountant in the church. You're on the board of directors. You're a deacon. You're a presenter. That is not enough. Therefore, you and all your company are set against who? And Aaron. Moses said, Aaron. Moses said, who is Aaron? This is what Moses is asking, you know. Who is Aaron? What is Aaron? What is Aaron? Moses asked them. That you grumble against him. It's the same Aaron, you know. Who, when the people said to him, said, where is this Moses? Build us a calf. And Aaron build the calf, give the people. When Moses come, Moses said, Aaron, what is this that you have done? Moses, Aaron said, no, no, me just put the seed in the fire and me just do one calf. And the same man, the Moses that said, who is Aaron? Aaron is nobody. I don't want Aaron forth. And Moses sent to call Dathan. And Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, we are not coming up. We don't want leadership, you know. And we set up something now, you know. This is how they are, you know. You want to lead. And we set up the facility now for God to choose. And we send calling now because you have the opportunity now to involve in the voting process. You say you're not coming up. And I have personally experienced this here. The board of directors make decisions, and people disagree and them walk and them talk all about and they walk and they talk. And when the time comes for people to volunteer to be on the board, not one person volunteer themselves. But you want to lead and you want to affect decisions. And you question every decision that is made by the leadership. But when you have the opportunity to become a part of the leadership, you shy away. Moses said, come up. You say, me now come now. Sermon have a long, you know. Is it little that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us? They are saying, you know. So they must say, Egypt are the land with the milk and honey, not this land that you say you're taking us to. But you bring us out of there now to kill us. So they are basically saying to Moses that Moses that trick, you know. I reverse the thing, you know. We did already in the land, you know. And now you carry out of the land to kill you. You're worse than Pharaoh, man. So is it little that you have done this to us, Moses? But now you want to see total rule over us? The man said Moses have too much power, brethren. Also, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. So now the leader is being accused. Who was it that rebelled 2 chapters ago? When the men came back and said, we can't win. Who was it that rebelled? And Moses rebelled? So why is Moses being blamed? Now me ask him because we just read it. Moses did not rebel. The people them said them cannot do it. And Joshua encouraged them. So how is Moses being blamed now? Where was Korah? Where was Abiram and Dathan when the men came back? Where were they to say, let us go? Where were they? They were not there. But now they are complaining. I want you to understand, rebels. Now they are complaining that Moses did not bring them into a land. But when Moses sent to spy out the land, all of you were silent. None of you encouraged the people. None of you display the characteristics of a leader to encourage the people and say, we can do it. But now you're complaining. I want you to understand, rebels. Watch it. And Moses became very displeased Reach the tip of him spear now. I'm tired of them now. And said to Yahweh, now listen man, it is not good for us to bring the leader to a point where the leader has to bring our names to God, to ask God to deal with us. There's a hierarchy, and I said it, I don't remember who I said it to the other day. There is authority in every aspect of your life. You're driving on the road, you see the police, you have to adjust yourself and fix up yourself. You don't have your seatbelt, you put it on because you don't want a ticket. You have to submit to the police officer. Does it mean that the police officer is better than you? No. But he was placed in a position of authority, so you have to respect it. You are in a job. The boss is no better than you. Might be a worse person than you in life. But he holds the position of manager and supervisor, so you have to respect it. I am at work and I make a mistake and the supervisor starts it out. The manager don't need to know about it because it has already been handled. Don't make the supervisor have to go to the manager and a bridging. Do not let the supervisor have to take your name to the manager. Watch it. Moses have to go to God now and say, listen man, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one dime. I not take a donkey from them, nor have I done any harm to them. So the people who rebel against you are the people who you do the most good for. The people who you love the most, the people who are closest to you, and the people who you look out for are the people who rebel against you. And we see it with Moses right through. I don't know how I'm still standing after all those incidents. Rebellion after rebellion, family member after family member. Then Moses said to Korah, tomorrow you and all your company shall be there before Yahweh. You and they and Aaron. So leadership you want? Watch it. And take each one his fire holder, and you shall put incense in it, and let each one bring his fire holder before Yahweh. 250 fire holders, because it's 250 hours. So make sure someone will come and say 250 fire holders. Moses said to them, say, listen, at 250 I want to come against me today, brethren. Make sure 250 fire holders I say tomorrow. I want you to pay attention. Let me go back. I want you to pay attention to this brother here. Notice this is Korah here, sir. You see Dathan, you see Abiram, and you see On. 250 fire holders. And you and Aaron, each one with his fire holder. So each one took his fire holder and put fire in it, and laid incense on it and stood at the door of the tent of appointment with Moses and Aaron. Now watch Korah now. The chief. Korah assembled all the congregation against them. So everybody, Korah called the whole Israel now and said, come. Because we're going to get rid of Moses. Come at the door of the tent of appointment. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. So you see, rebellion is a thing that warrants swift action from God. You know? This is what I realized when I was studying this thing. You know? Rebellion warrants swift action. So you tell one little lie over there, so and you get where you feel like you get where. And you never come to church one Sabbath. You're trying to mess with the rebellion somewhere. Don't mess with it. It's a very serious thing. Watch it. So then get everybody now. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, because Yahweh come down now, you know. Spoke to Moses and to Aaron saying, let me get it in a Jamaican terms. Watch it from amongst us, you know. And make me kill them. Take for yourself and make me deal with them. The man don't come in and not talking in a virgin. The man don't come in and not talking. The man say, watch us, separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation. Because 250 men come and them gather every single body. So here are now Moses and Aaron. Never make you lead zero. Because since everybody are rebel, just take one yourself, please. You got basically have to go as far as possible so we can burn up everything. What is the word that is used there again? Consume. Let me consume them in a moment. Quick. Burn them up, quick. But they fell on their faces, so they realized what's going on now. These people, may I tell you, they're not normal. They fell on their faces. and said, O Elohim of the spirits of all flesh. When one man sins, all of a sudden, no Korah alone. You know? Them say, when one man sin, you wrath with all the congregation? Them people are not easy, brethren. The people them chewed Korah now. I say, this man alone in the brethren. So, oh, you want to kill off all the way? I just come to see what I'm going. Never really come to rebel, come to see what I'm going. And Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, hey, God supposed to laugh when them people are talking. He spoke to Moses saying, move away. So different command now. Since as them claims that them never come for rebel now. Just watch it yourself from amongst Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. I wonder if you notice that the man named Undo mentioned here. That the man that turned back on him and realized that this thing had not gone away in the bed. That the man that decides that we can't go down with whom in the bed. The man take with himself to the man and say, all right, here we go. Moses, me I work with him. So, look more with phone thing. Moses, me I work with. Man, disappear. You know, you about him in the Bible, the man humble himself. So God said, move now from amongst the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, please take away yourselves from these tents of the wrong men. Not even touch the things that belong to them. Because if you touch it, you're cursing. This is what they consume, you know. You understand the consume, you know. If you touch them things, you have to go with them. If you're in bed with the rebellion, with the rebellious, you know, you have to burn with them. Because when I am dealing with rebellion, you know, it's complete annihilation in a brethren. Not even a stone will be left unturned. So do not even touch whatever belongs to them, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So the people moved away. So the same people who you gather take with themselves left you. Moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, by this you know that Yahweh has sent me. So since as you question the legitimacy of my leadership, since as you question the origin of it and where it came from and who instituted it, by this you are going to know that I am the one you chose, because I never wanted it. And most times the people who are leading God's people are people who never wanted it. And if they have a choice, I'm sure that if pastor have a choice, and God asks him, so do you want to stop? And I do not feel any. If God said to pastor, say, stop, and I won't hold it against you, you will still be my son, I will love you all the more, and you will be in the kingdom, pastor would have said, take it, go on with it. Because it is a process, it is a role that takes and takes and takes and takes and takes from you. It is not something to be desired. There are work and people tell me to never be part, and I said, call on them something for me. Don't call it down for me, I don't want it. I don't want it. The people are ungrateful, there is no recognition in it. Nobody don't love you. Nobody don't take care of you. All people do is complain. All people do is nitpick. There is no help in it. Nothing. The same for Moses. The same men who them say appoint leaders Moses because you one can't do it. It's the same people rise up against him. And these are men of his own family. The Levites, his brothers and sisters, and cousins, rose up against him. So Moses said, by this you will know that he chose me to do all these works. All they are not from my own heart, because if it's me alone, I'm gone left for a long time, brother. Not from my own heart. Not of any good that is found within me. Because God nearly killed me when we don't tell him excuse. If these die as all men do, Moses said. You see, if you die a regular death, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahweh has not sent me. So it's either they are regular dead today. Me and no leader, who can go about in the business and kill me if you don't want to kill me. But if Yahweh creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have scorned who? Not me, Moses. They have scorned Yahweh. And it came to be as he ended speaking all these words. It must have been, because it's God appointed the man, brethren. It's not the man appointed himself. Moses was fine, being in Pharaoh's house, riches and royalty. I live him life, him never get no whip like, and him give up that because of love for you, because of a higher calling. So as he ended speaking all these words, that the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households and all the men with Korah, with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into Sheol. As you notice, usually even like with Achan who took the spoil from the war, it says that in family, all I'm house dead. You don't see that with Korah. No? Korah have some son. Check with themselves and say, oh, me not go down with daddy. Me not go down with daddy because we realize that I'm going with. And me not involved in that. So them align themselves with Moses. We're going to see. So they died. And the Israel run left them and fled at their cry. Earth open up and swallow the people them. But this isn't enough. It is not enough for the people to calm themselves. Watch it. A fire came out from Yahweh. And now what? So at this point, the 250 man them left at the tent of appointment, with the incense burning. So them don't know say ground open up runs and swallow for them man, for them 3 man, and them people, But them they tent of appointment. And you're going to understand that this is a serious crime again. Because it's Aaron alone supposed to do that. Aaron alone supposed to do that. So God don't forget about them. Remember what I said, Once you involve in the rebellion, you must be dealt with. Because you have to get rid of every single piece of it. So fire came down now for the 250 men and consumed them. And Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, say to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, this is the person who is authorized to do this. A man who come from Aaron. Pick up the fire holders. So we burn up everything now and God say, alright, go and go pick them up out of the blaze. For they are set apart. So since as only the one of a holy thing, we burn up one and left the holy things then. So go and pick them up now. Because they are holy, and scatter the fire some distance away. The fire holders of these men who sinned against what? Their own lives. Remember what it said before? Their crookedness is upon them. The rebellion is a sin that you left on yourself. You cannot come back from it. Because they have sinned against their own lives. Let them be made into beaten plates as a covering for the altar. Because they brought them before Yahweh. So because you bring them before me. The people that I make use of them. Get rid of one and make use of them. Therefore they are set apart. Let them become a sign to the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the bronze fire holders which those who burned up had brought. And they were beaten out as a covering on the slaughter place. So them beat out the bronze thing them now. They said them beat it out, Brother Bailey, and then put it on the altar. You said you go to the altar with your offering now, and you look at it, you know what you see? You see a reflection of yourself. And when you see the reflection of yourself, you are reminded not to be a rebel. A sign. So he put them now. It is to be a remembrance to the children of Israel that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aaron. So it don't matter how you feel about Aaron in a brethren. It don't matter if you believe that he is incapable of leading. The law says no stranger outside of Aaron's seed not supposed to come and put this thing here. And not to be like Korah and his company, as Yahweh had said to him through Moses. But all the congregation of the children of Israel did what? Grumbled, fire just burned, earth just opened. I don't know what else to do. It just happened. And I put it on the altar and said, let it be a sign. Let it be a remembrance. And immediately after, the congregation of Israel grumbled against Moses and against Aaron when? The next day, Jamaica. See that? Take out your Bible and read it. Let me hear it say. And what did they say? You have killed the people of Yahweh. So again, another accusation against the leader. And Moses kill them people? Did Moses kill anybody? Okay. And it came to be when the congregation of Israel assembled against the rebellion continues. So we realize that rebellion is a contagious thing. And against Aaron, that they turned toward the tent of appointment and see the cloud covered it and the esteem of Yahweh appeared. This seemed like them plan to take over the tabernacle. And Moses and Aaron came before the tent of appointment, and Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, just move, no man. Just please, just move me. I beg you, Moses, just move and let me consume. God said, Moses, me not ask you if you go for 2 days. We just want you to move. Just give me 1 second. Just move for 1 second, let me kill them. God is begging Moses just 1 second. I don't want you to be here. Just 1 second. So me can kill them. And they fell on their faces. Them like fall on them face. Me don't know how them face no boss yet. So Moses said to Aaron, take the fire oil and put fire in it from the slaughter place. Moses said, quick, Aaron, because God will kill them, you know. Moses said, quick, lay incense on it and go hurry to the congregation and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from Yahweh. So the wrath already come out. And the plague has begun. And Aaron took it as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the assembly and saw that the plague had begun among the people. And he laid on the incense and made atonement for the people and stood between the dead and the living. And the plague was stopped. And those who died in the plague were what? 14,700. Besides those who died on account of Korah. 14,700 plus 250 is 14,950. You have Korah, Abiram, Dathan, and all of them people that were burned up with them. So that about one next 50, that are 15,000 people dead. Remember, you know, Korah died first, you know. And the aftermath of his action continued. 250 more burn up because of him, you know. Because him started, you know, brethren. 250 died after he died, you know. And then after they died, 14,000. How much? 14,000 how much? 700 more died. You know? So it kept going. Numbers 17, 1-5. Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, speak to the children of Israel. Because the issue don't deal with it, no, Brother Bailey. You have to ensure that the people understand that is Moses I select him. Say, speak to them and tell them, say, listen, every tribe, every leader of every tribe, bring a rod. So 12 rod is going to come. Write each one's name on his rod. And write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi. For there is one rod for the head of each father's house. You shall then place them in the tent of appointment before the witness, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose will bud. And I shall rid myself. God is saying, tell it, man. I need to rid myself, not you or the congregation. I need to rid myself of the grumblings of the rebellion of the children of Israel, which they grumbled against you. And Moses spoke to the children of Israel and all their leaders, and they brought the rod now. Verse 8, and it came to be on the next day that Moses went into the tent of the witness and saw that the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had budded and brought forth buds and blossomed and ripe almond and fruit and tree and beer things are going in that place. One night. And Moses brought out the rods before the people. And they looked, and each man took his rod. And Yahweh said to Moses, bring Aaron's rod back before the witness, to be kept as what? A sign against who? The rebels, because they are going to come again and question the legitimacy. So put it in the tent of appointment as a sign against the rebels, that I chose these men to lead. So that you put an end to their grumblings against me. Lest what? They die, because the punishment for rebellion is death. Immediate death. Numbers 26, 9 to 10. The sons of Eliab, Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. This Dathan and Abiram were the called ones of the congregation who fought against Moses and against Aaron in the company of Korah, when they contended against Yahweh. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah. When that company died, when the fire consumed 250 men, and they became a sign. But what? But the sons of Korah did not die. So the sons of Korah now went on, and they wrote Psalm 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 84, 85, 87, and 88. One of the most famous ones, as the deer panted for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. And in one of them, I think that they said, they would much rather to be in the tent of right, a doorkeeper in the tent of righteousness, than to be among the rebels. So you realize that these men disassociated themselves from their father, because them said, listen man, your way is a way of death. So I want you to understand that the way of Cain and the error of Balaam, the rebellion of Korah, even when it is coming from family members, we need to disassociate ourselves, because the punishment is severe. What does consume mean? To be complete, at an end, finished, accomplished. Watch these words now. Annihilate, being consumed. You know, when you consume something, when you eat and left, you're not consuming, because something leaves, When you consume something, you take over all of it. Done. To be spent. When something's spent, it done. Money done, hand to mouth done. Came to an end, ceased, completely gone, demolished, destroyed. And I show you how much time it is used in that context. Destruction, devoured, died, ended, exhausted, exterminated. You feel, faint, finished, make an end, over with, perish, ravage, terminate, vanish. You are used, you waste away. So he said, let me consume them. This is what he's talking about. Let me put an end to them. So the rebellion of Korah we learn now. Projection. What is projection? So men were sent to spy out Canaan. 10 come back and say we can't win. 2 man say we can win. The whole congregation start to grumble. Korah included, Dathan and Abiram included, because the Bible said the whole congregation. The Bible said only Joshua and Caleb, only 2 men. See? So we realize that these people are responsible for the punishment. That's why I go through Numbers 14 and 15 to show you that this is why now they rise up against Moses, because they realize now that the punishment is upon them. And you have to find somebody to blame for your misfortune because they say, you will not see the land. So they are bitter. So now they have to project that bitterness onto somebody else, so then project it. What is this projector doing? It projects whatever is in it on the screen. Is not the screen doing it, you know? Is not the screen doing it, so then project the envy, the greed, the bitterness, the rebelliousness onto Moses. And say, is you cause it. When we are preaching, we say, look at the screen. We don't say, look at the projector. Because the projector projects the image onto the screen. Where is the image? Inside of here, so. The projection. You do not accept that you are wrong. So you project it onto somebody else. Because trouble comes. You blame somebody else for your misfortune. Envy. You see the man with the leadership role, you don't know what it entails. You don't know the sleepless nights involved. You don't know the heart-wrenching conversations that you have to have with people. You don't know the half of it. The fool has never been told. Who feels it knows, but you envy it. You want it. You're self-serving. You are greedy. So we see the same things from Cain and from Balaam. You have trouble submitting to authority. The authority is already there. It's not like there is no authority. It is already there, but you have trouble submitting. You reject that authority. So because you have trouble submitting, you reject the authority. And then comes death and murder by association, because of your action, all of those people were murdered. So listen. Rebellion usually begins with a false accusation or an accentuation of a leader's flaw. Every leader has flaws, people. Every leader has flaws. So what you will find amongst the rebels, is that they will pinpoint a leader's flaw and they focus on it. Focus on it and they make it great, so it accentuates. So they make it like, say, this is the whole entire person. So pastor don't know how to talk to people. They make it the big old thing. But pastor, love the people then. Look out for the people then. Take care of the people. Preach good. Teach well. Humble. But he just don't know how to talk to people. But you make it look like say, that is him. That is all he is. Somebody who don't know how to talk to people. So you're trying to validate your claim why this person isn't eligible to lead. So you're pinpointing flaws. Or you make false accusations. You have too much power. You're this, you're that. Moses never killed anybody. Moses never instituted himself. Whenever there was something to be done, Moses consulted who? God. So Moses never have no power. Rebels have selective or short memory. Because they forgot how many times Moses stood between them and God and protected them. So they choose what they want to remember and how they want to remember it. Rebels recount the past inaccurately. So when they tell the story, and that's how it goes. So they recount the past inaccurately to aid or validate their cause. So that's why you hear Korah say, you have risen yourself up above the people. You make yourself great above the people, which is a false claim. So you don't recount the story properly. You say you have killed the people. So you don't remember the story properly. You know, talk it how it go. You can imagine if I did them right about. There is always an underlying issue that sparks rebellion. Let us look at the underlying issue here now, in Korah's case. There's always an underlying issue. Sometimes when you hear them say the leader cannot lead, the leader cannot this and the leader cannot that, there is something else at play that they are not being honest about. Watch it. What was the underlying issue that sparked the rebellion of Numbers 16? The real issue was the lack of faith displayed by the Israelites, not Moses, when they were sent to spy out the land. Therefore, a punishment was rendered that they will not enter the land. This lack of faith spiraled into a host of wrongs that brings us to the calamity of number 16. That is the underlying issue. You mess up and you are now under punishment. And you cannot deal with the punishment because you want to go into the land. And the punishment said that you will not enter the land. And only the children and Joshua and Caleb will go into the land. The Bible said the men under 20 years old will enter the land. And so you feel bad now. So you project it onto Moses. They say Moses can't leave because Moses take you out of Egypt. And promises say we are going to promised land. And we now going out. That was Moses' fault. So one, there's a lack of faith. And the lack of faith brings forth punishment. The punishment now brings forth guilt. So they feel guilty. And the guilty results in projection or blaming the leader for your misfortune. And bitterness. Look what rebellion means. Mary. Look what it means. Bitterness. Sermon done. Concretely bitter or rebellious. The ancient Hebrew lexicon says the headwaters of a river are only a trickle and have stagnant pools causing the water to be bitter. Something that is bitter of taste or attitude. Rebellion is one with a bitter attitude. So you are bitter because of some other reason, some personal issue. You are bitter and so you rebel. The rebellion of Shemaiah. And speak to Shemaiah the Nehelamite, saying, thus speaks Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel. Because, so this man now sent letters, you know. Because you have sent letters in your name to all the people who are at Jerusalem, to Zephaniah, the priest, and to all the priests, saying, Yahweh has made you priests instead. So the man sent a letter in his own name and said, me, God, make us priests. So the man who did it as priest, now he's not no priest. Rebellion is prominent among Israel people. So that there are overseers in the house of Yahweh over everyone who is mad and makes himself a prophet. That you should put him in the stocks and in the iron collar. So why have you not reproved Jeremiah, who makes himself a prophet to you? For he has sent to us in Babel, saying this captivity is long. Build houses and dwell in them and plant gardens and eat their fruit. And Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the hearing of Jeremiah the prophet. Then the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, send to all those in exile, saying, thus says Yahweh concerning Shemaiah, because Shemaiah has prophesied to you, and I have not sent him. So be careful of rebellious people, because when them come, God don't send them. Do not listen to them. A man who come, who was not sent, have serious problems. Why you think that punishment is reserved for the people them in a Revelation where it said the dragon and him people them? You were not sent, but you come. You were not sent, but you went. I have not sent him. And he has made you to trust on falsehood. So the false accusation, now you trust on it. Therefore, thus said Yahweh, see, I am bringing punishment upon Shemaiah and his seed. He shall have no one to dwell among his people. Consummation. Consumed. Nor is it to see the good that I am about to do for my people, declares Yahweh, because he has spoken what? Apostasy. Other translation said rebellion. He has rebelled against Yahweh. Miriam and Aaron, you know the story again. Look at the claim. Look at it. So look at the underlying issue here. They spoke against Moses. Why? Because of the Cushite woman whom he had taken. For he had taken a Cushite wife. So that is the underlying issue. Moses take up a Cushite woman. Them don't like it. But look how they rebel now. When them go to rebel, look what them said to Moses. Has Yahweh only spoken through Moses? So this is the underlying issue, you know. And they don't confront Moses, you know, and say, why you take up a Cushite woman? No. They come with a different claim. Are you all one God talk to? And look at the punishment. Same time, God come down. Look what God said. I love, we can't skip this. God said to them, say, hear now my words. Hold on, let me go back. Let me light that part here. Verse 5. Yahweh came down in the column of cloud and stood in the door of the tent. So God come and stand up in that door. Right in that doorway. And him come and him say, Aaron and Miriam. Three of them stand up, you know. Moses, Aaron and Miriam stand up, you know. God come and stand up and say, Aaron and Miriam, and the two of them have to step forward. So. Two of them in call and Moses stand up on the background. And God said to them, listen to me. If your prophet is of Yahweh, I make myself known to him in a vision. And I speak to him in a dream. They could listen to your opinion. Not so with my servant Moses. He is trustworthy and in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth. Since I don't know how to ask if I alone me talk to. And plainly, I don't use riddles when I am talking to Moses. I don't use go round corner. I talk to him straight, brethren and brethren. I don't come speak spooky. Talk to him in our jargon. And he sees the form of Yahweh. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant? When you come here, why are you not afraid to talk against him? He's not a normal man. And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against them and he left. So them feel them get it. And the cloud turned away from the tent. And look, Miriam was leprous. Leprosy take her, rebellion. The same Moses pray for her. The same Moses. Moving along. This thing not changing. So we find out that all Moses and Aaron rebellion of people. Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, take the rod and assemble the congregation of Israel. Speak to the rock and make water come out of the rock. Moses now, frustration take him now. Moses go now and say, listen to me now, the rebellious people. Long time you want to call them rebellious. Long time you want to call them out, you know. Hear now, you rebels. Shall we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. What did God say to do? Speak to the rock. But Moses licked the rock. And God said to him now down here, sir, because you did not believe me to set me apart in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you do not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. So rebellion must be dealt with. All if the leader rebel have to face punishment. Aaron is to die. When it says gathered to his people, whenever the Bible says gathered to his people, it says he is to die. For he is not to enter the land. Look what God said. It's not me say Moses rebellion. Look what him said. Because you rebelled against my mouth, I told you to speak and you lick. The chief rebel, the big boss, now change, same. Ezekiel 28, 11 to 19. The word of Yahweh came to me saying, Son of man, take up a what? Proverb, a psalm, a lamentation for the sovereign of where? Of sword. And you shall say to him, thus said the master, Yahweh, you were sealing up a pattern. Talking about Satan now, you know. You were sealing up a pattern. You were complete in wisdom. You were perfect in loveliness. You were in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering. The ruby, topaz, diamond, beryl, shoham, jasper, sapphire, turquoise, emerald, gold. The workmanship of your settings and mountings was prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed cherubim that covered, and I placed you. I gave you your position. You were on the set apart mountain of Elohim. You walked up and down in the midst of stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created. until unrighteousness was found in him. By the greatness, change it for me, please. Not change. By the greatness of your trade, you became filled with violence within you. So I thrust you out from the mountain of Elohim, and I destroyed you, O covering cherubim, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was what? Lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I threw you to the earth. I laid you before kings to look at you. You profaned your set-apart places. So in rebel, I turned you to ashes upon the earth before the eyes of all who see you. Waste you shall be, and cease to be forever. This sounds like the punishment for rebellion. Isaiah talk about him too. Isaiah 14:12-6. How you have fallen from the heavens, O Hellel. Your translation will say Lucifer, son of the morning. It means light bringer. You have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the nations. For you have said in your heart, what did he say? Let me go up to the heavens. Let me raise my throne above the stars of Elohim. And let me sit in the mount of appointment on the sides of the north. Let me go up above the heights of the clouds. Let me be like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. Those who see you stare at you and ponder over you. Is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook rains? Samuel says in 1 Samuel, it is better to obey than to sacrifice. It is better to heed. It is better to submit than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is as wickedness and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahweh, he also does reject you. This was after Saul took the things from war, and God told him to kill everything, and him take when he feel like he want to take. Proverbs 7:11, an evil one seeks out rebellion. Psalm 68:6, only the rebellious shall dwell in a dry land. So everybody else get a nice little place. Prosperity. And a home for the lonely, he makes a home for the lonely. But the rebellious shall dwell in a dry land. Remember this one, you know it, because we look at it with the firstborn. When a man has a wayward and rebellious son, what are you supposed to do with him? Carry him to the gate with the elders. And what are you going to do to him? Stone him. Rebellion must be dealt with. You can't make the rebellion come down in your family line, you know. Because you're dooming a brethren. You have to get rid of a son like that. Joshua 1:1-8. God said to Joshua, whoever rebels against your mouth, because Moses died now, you know. And God said to Joshua, say, I am giving you the authority. Whichever person rebel against you and does not obey your word in all that you command him, kill him. You have to deal with him. God give Joshua that authority. Samuel now. Samuel getting old, and his sons are there. Wicked sons Samuel have some wicked sons. See there? They did not walk in his ways. They turned aside after their own gain. They took bribes, just like with the man there last week, Balaam. And they twisted right through it. Remember, when you accept bribes, you know, you become perverse. So you mash up justice. So once you take bribes, this follow, justice get tainted. So these men were not good men. And now all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel and said to him, look, you all know Samuel. Your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a king to rule over us like the nations. This sounds like a good thing. Don't. Because Samuel's son, them now have none good to do for you. No? But you take it upon yourself. You take it upon yourself. You don't wait for God. Watch it. But the word was evil in the eyes of Samuel, and Samuel consulted with God. Now in verse 7, God said, Listen to the voice of the people, Samuel. In all that they say, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from reigning over them. And then he proceeded and he tell themselves, when you get the king, this is what the king is going to do, and such and such and such. And he said, yes, give it the king. Lessons again. Rebellion is contagious. We are to stay away from rebellious individuals. We must develop an attitude of submission. Wife don't want to submit to husband. Children don't want to submit to parents. Nobody don't want to submit, and submission is required for order. It doesn't mean that you are less than anybody. We all have to submit. So the wife don't want to submit because she feel like so the man a rule. But the man have somebody must submit to. We must develop an attitude of submission. You are at work, you have to submit to your boss. You are on the road, you have to submit to the stop sign, the stop light, the police officer. You're going to the court, you have to submit to the judge. We all have to submit. We must learn it. But when you come to church, you don't want to submit. Nobody wants to do them one thing with God thing. Nobody wants to submit. Failure to submit is defiance against God, not whosoever you're going against. Because if I am at the bank and I am rebelling against my supervisor is going to take it to the manager. But the manager can't deal with it. Because ultimately you are rebelling against the higher power. Be content in your role or your capacity. If more is intended for you, you will get it. Jamaican people say, one of you can't be unfair. So you go. One of you can't be unfair. Respect God's choice of leadership. Think twice before speaking ill of earthly leaders, or even heavenly ones. Any act against a leader, regardless of the leader being good or evil, I want you to notice I was going to put it in it, but the sermon will be too long. Done long already. David, go and read back David with Saul. And listen to the conversations, the rhetoric. Whenever David was confronted by Saul and said, "Oh, my king." And the king said, "Is it that my servant David?" David never once said, "A king, a wicked man try to kill me." And he would have within him right to say it. But he never spoke ill of them. Never. Whether the leader is good or bad, any act against such a leader is classified as rebellion and thus a direct attack on God. No act of rebellion, most importantly, goes unpunished. You will be consumed. Psalm 78 encourages us to teach it to our children. Don't be like our fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation. Romans 13 tells us about submitting. Let every person be in subjection. This is required for order. Let every person submit to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. Nobody cannot rule on this earth unless God allow it. We need to understand this, whether or not them good or bad. They cannot assume a leadership position unless it is appointed by God. And the authorities that exist are appointed by Elohim. See, the scripture said, so he who opposes the authority withstands the institution of God. And those who withstand shall bring judgment on themselves. We see it right through the Torah. The crookedness is upon them. They sin against themselves. For those ruling are an object of fear, not to good works, but to evil. Do you wish to be afraid, not afraid of the authority? Do the good, and you shall have praise from it. Therefore, verse 5, it is necessary to be subject, not only because of the wrath, but also because of the conscience. You are called to fear, you are called to respect, you are called to submit. In verse 7, he says, give what is due unto the people, then what is due to them. Tax to whom tax is due. Toll to whom toll is due. When you're going through the toll, do not drive to the people them thing and don't pay them. Pay your tax. The government thief and then say pay the land tax, pay the tax. The Bible tells us pay the tax. Fear to whom? Fear. Respect to whom? Respect. Ezekiel 2:1-6. Before we close, he said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet so that I speak to you. And the Spirit entered into me, Ezekiel says, when he spoke to me and set me on my feet. And I heard him who was speaking to me, and he said to me, Son of man, I am sending you to the children of Israel. God is warning him. I am sending you to a people, you see? A nation of what? Rebels is not me saying. God said, I am sending you to a nation of rebels. I am preparing you for it. Who have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me until this day, from that day until now. And the children are stiff of face and hard of heart, to whom I am sending you. You shall say to them, thus said the Master Yahweh. And they, whether them hear or whether they refuse. So God is saying, I don't care if them want to listen or if them want to refuse, because they're rebellious. They shall know that a prophet has been in their midst. And you, son of man, do not be afraid of them, the people that we make the lead afraid in our brethren. Do not be afraid of them, nor be afraid of their words. Though thistles and thorns are with you. God is warning him and said, listen, them same people that will joke you. Dwell among scorpions. I am sending you to dwell among scorpions. And God must say this about them, not me, because if we kill me, if me say, do not be afraid of their words or discouraged by their looks, for they are a rebellious house. You shall speak my words to them, whether they hear or not. That is not your business, for they are rebellious. Him say it again. You, son of man, hear what I am speaking to you. Do not be rebellious like that, rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat what I am giving you. And we see that him eat up the scroll, him show him the scroll and him eat it up. Conclusion. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain. They have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit, and perished in the rebellion of Korah. So the way of Cain, withholding our best from the master, showing a lack of faith. And then we get the punishment, so we're angry. We're about the anger, we are warned against the anger. Sin is crouching at your door, you must rule over it. We reject the correction, and so we murder now. And we're not coming and ask, where is your brother? You lie. And after you lie now, you're going to ask me with your face to say, am I my brother's keeper? So we fail to be our brother's keeper. And now we are cursed and punished. And we are unrepentant. And we say, no, the punishment too severe. We don't say, I am sorry. We are self-absorbed. And as a result, we are outcast and we die. Mr. Balaam accepted bribes. And as a result, he perverted justice, ran after greed, rejected the authority of God, and go tell the people them, say, listen, the things of God now to curse them, just make them carry the woman and go give them and make them turn from God. Selfish ambition. He went against Israel and he died. Mr. Korah now envied Moses for his post. Self-serving because he want to lead. Don't satisfy with what he have already. And he's greedy. He's have trouble submitting to authority. So he rejected that authority. And he died. And by association caused the murder of a lot of people. 14,000 bullied. My people, I trust that these past few weeks have been a blessing to you as it has been to me. So much was learned from putting these presentations together and presenting them. So I hope that learning has taken place on both sides. We must understand that these characteristics are not to be found among us as children of Israel, individually or collectively. As such, the onus is on each of us to reflect on what has been presented about Cain, Balaam, and Korah, and to match our lives against them to ensure there are no similarities found, and if similarities are found, then a plan of action must be implemented to rid ourselves of these. Yahweh calls us to life, and life abundantly, and we saw that all these characteristics lead to death. Therefore, greed, wrath, rejection of authority, murder, self-centeredness, rebellion, outcast, and death are rocky reefs in our love feast. Feasting with us, feeding themselves without fear, waterless clouds borne about by the winds, late autumn trees without fruit, twice dead, pulled up by the roots, wild waves of the sea forming up their own shape, straying stars for whom blackness of darkness is kept forever. And Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied, and he said, Yahweh is coming with his myriad of set-apart ones to execute judgment on all the Cains and all the Balaams and all the Korahs, which they have committed in a wicked way, and concerning all the harsh words which wicked sinners have spoken against him. These are grumblers like the children of Israel, and complainers who walk against their own lusts, according to their own lusts, and their mouths speak proudly, admiring faces of others for the sake of gain. But you, my people, if you want to be found in the kingdom, remember the words presented over these past 3 weeks. Because they told you that there would be mockers in the last time who would walk according to their own lusts. These are the ones who cause divisions. We don't want them among us, not having the Spirit. But you, beloved ones, build yourselves up on the faith, the word of God. Keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the compassion of our Master. Show compassion to each other. Some who are doubting, but others say with fear, snatching them out of the fire. Be our brother's keeper. Watch each other. Ensure that we all walk in the path. A man going down the wrong path, you snatch him up and tell him, come back. And to him, the Master Yeshua, who is able to keep us from stumbling, to present us blameless before his Father, is esteemed with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be esteemed, glory, greatness, might, and power, both now and forever. Hallelujah.